you are working with dogs in any capacity as a family or portrait photographer, or you specialize in pet photography like I do, I want to share some key things I see other photographers doing that can be really detrimental to the relationship with the dog, or even dangerous when working with dogs for a photo shoot. So in this video, I'm sharing some key things to avoid doing when working with dogs that will hopefully help you have a more stress-free and enjoyable session for both pets and people that results in really lovely images. So let's get started. First, I see where people rush the greeting. So greeting the dog on their terms, allowing them to come to you and sniff you, your equipment, and kind of get used to the location can really set your session up for success or failure. In other words, you want to take time to get that dog comfortable with you and kind of what's going on. Forcing them in a position too soon or immediately pulling out the camera and getting in their face is a surefire way to cause them more duress and stress than is necessary. I personally give them lots of treats and praise, even getting down on their level in a sit or squat so it's non-threatening. If need be, I will take out my camera and allow them to sniff it while clicking the shutter and then rewarding them after each click with a treat. Once I see that they're a little bit loose, happy, wiggly, and enjoying themselves is when I start the session, but not before then if possible. Now, obviously every dog is different. Some are what we like to call bomb-proof and really enjoy anything new or exciting, such as the camera, whereas others will be very wary of you and this whole photographic experience. So take your time and give the dog the space they need to feel comfortable with you and the setting, so you can in turn get a better resulting photo and everyone will have a really good time too. Another thing I see photographers doing in general with dogs during a session is boring them to tears. I happened to walk by a family session recently in a very popular photography spot locally where the photographer just kept repeating, sit, 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 sit. The dog was so over it and clearly just kind of disengaging from the whole thing. In other words, the dog was bored and frustrated because they didn't feel heard and clearly didn't want to sit or sit still for very long. So with dogs, novelty is very exciting. That means if you're working with them, make it fun. Don't be so repetitive that you're boring them with the same noise or same command or same thing. Utilize treats, toys, affection, and noises to keep them engaged and having a good time. You can also break up the session with plenty of time to play and kind of reset so they can keep their focus and keep working alongside you to capture beautiful images. A third thing to make sure that you try to avoid during a session with dogs is to completely ignore body language. How dogs communicate is entirely by body language. The slightest shift backwards, the lip lick, a bark, or ear tuck are all indicators of different things. If you are a photographer who regularly works with dogs, or you're a pet photographer who really wants to be successful, it's important to study up on dog body language and behavior. This will be instrumental in keeping you safe, but also for capturing incredible images that don't show a dog looking stressed, anxious, unhappy, or sad. So do your homework by taking a dog training course or online classes, going to a local dog park and watching and seeing how dogs interact, volunteering your photography with shelter dogs, participate in play groups, and even pay attention to your own dog. There are a ton of ways to start brushing up on understanding dog body language so you can help them thrive and be stress-free during a session. If you want a video all about negative and positive body language for dogs, let me know in the comments below. One thing that has really come up for me in the past couple of years of owning my own business and figuring out my unique style is that figuring out I don't have to do all the pet photography fads and trends to stand out. In fact, some of what we see are the popular styles of pet photography are actually very detrimental to the dogs themselves. So if you have followed me for any length of time, you know that I am a huge advocate of letting the dog lead the session. For instance, I would never force a dog to do a water session that hates water. It would not work. So recently I've learned that, for instance, holy powder sessions where the dogs kind of run through the colored powder can actually cause respiratory issues, and ingesting those powders can also cause gastrointestinal upset stomach, skin allergies, rashes, and even blindness. So the point is for you guys, do what's best for your clients and their dogs and what feels good or right to you, not what's trendy or fad at the time just to get likes. You never want to put an animal in a situation where they can be harmed, stressed, or worse, because that will also speak badly on behalf of your business if something bad were to in fact happen. So do your own due diligence when it comes to these fads or trends and figure out something that you could do that would be unique to your business that helps the animals also be able to participate in innate behaviors that they enjoy, like running and digging and sniffing and playing, not something that they detest or that is actually harmful for them. And last but not least, I see this happen with both people and pet parents, and that is forcing the dog to do something they don't want to do, like sit, for instance, which we kind of touched on a little bit earlier. Again, I'm a big proponent of paying attention to the body language of a dog, and if, for example, I'm working with a senior dog who has bad hips, I'm not going to force them to sit because I know it's likely very uncomfortable or even painful for them. That's a very specific example, but you guys kind of know what I mean. So forcing an animal into position, especially when they're uncomfortable or stressed or anxious, can also lead to a very dangerous situation for you, causing the dog to lash out at you, growl at you, back away, or try to flee, or even a bite scenario. So where possible, try to work with where the dog is most comfortable and pose the other pets or people around that dog. Sure, it's not maybe what you envisioned or it's ideal, but it's going to be better for everyone in the long run and for your photos. So with all of that in mind, I hope that these few insights help you with some things to consider when working with dogs for your photography sessions. Do you have questions? Have comments? Was anything in this video helpful for you? Share all that and more with me in the comments below. Until I see you next time, as always, be kind and rescue dogs. Thanks for watching.